Hi, I'm Dr. Cora Bruner, and we're talking about sleep today. Sleep is something that's extremely important, and during this time, I've heard lots of stories in my clinic and my colleagues where teenagers are staying up until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and sleeping till noon or even 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And parents are just throwing up their hands saying, I don't know how else to deal with this. They're on their screens most of the evenings and most of the night, and I want them to sleep in. There's no school, and if there is school, it's pretty much on their own. If they get it done, what difference does it make? Well, this is really important. Teens need a schedule, and they need structure, just like all of us do. And teenagers definitely need 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night. That's when their brains rejuvenate, that's when they grow, and that's when they dream. And so what's happening during this time with changed sleep schedules is that the brains probably aren't doing what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to sleep when it's dark and not during the daytime. And they're supposed to be awake during the daytime and outside being physically active. And so the thing that's changing right now with this different sleep schedule is our kids aren't as physically active. I mean, if they're on their screens at 2 o'clock in the morning, they're not outside running around, they're not gardening, they're not doing the things that they would do during the daytime. So as hard as this is, we need to really make sure that our kids try to get in bed between 9 and 11, lights out, asleep no later than 11:30. I know that's about an hour and a half later than they used to, and really try to make sure they get up in the morning between 8 and 9. I know even that's later. So many of our kids used to be getting up at 6:30 or even 7 o'clock in the morning for school. So allowing them to sleep till 8:30 or 9 is pretty okay. But this is really, really important because it's time for growth and it's time for rejuvenation. And that's just not happening on a sleep schedule that's very disrupted. And eventually, when things open up again, they'll be all ready to go because they won't have had this sleep schedule where they're sleeping half the day. And they'll be ready to start being more productive and more happy, more physically active. Also, what happens is it's difficult for kids to fall asleep. Some of them have not really done much physical activity during the day, and then when they try to go to bed between 10 and 11, they can't. So they're taking different things like melatonin or Benadryl or something to make them sleepy. Or they might even be using something like marijuana to get them to fall asleep or having some alcohol, none of which are okay. None of which cause restful sleep. And as many of my colleagues in sleep medicine have pointed out, the sleep that occurs after use of alternative substances like alcohol, marijuana, or even sometimes with Benadryl or even melatonin, it's not restful sleep. So then when they wake up in the morning, they're not really awake. They still feel kind of groggy. And so then they might nap during the day, which leads to more difficulty falling asleep. All of it leads to a crazy cycle, which is easily avoided if they are more physically active during the day, so they're tired when it's time to go to bed. All lights are out, all electronic devices are off, and they're ready for bed no later than 10 or even 11 o'clock at night.